You guys, let's just briefly pause on my history here. I don't really play, blitz, but if I go games, I don't know if you can see this actually. Yeah, dude, look at that win streak, Bows. What a win streak. Ah, it's one of my better ones, dude. How about that? Okay, so we're moving on. So, boom. I'm going to fix our business. We're going to go news feed, view all, and it's like the graduation from 2 times ago is what we got to deal with. I believe it's this one. I'm just going to look right. We were like working our way through this thing here, I believe. Whew, I got to figure it out. First, Kraai, you need to fix the screen. So, does that look good? That's pretty good, I guess. I tried to, the Boomer GM, he doesn't really make things ever look really good, but it's for the momentito. Okay, so what did we, oh gosh, what happened here? So, right, yesterday we did Nitro, Luke, Anton, Chess by Bikes, Mura, and I don't think we did Camaroge. So let's continue here. Let me just say, I got COVID, dude. Then Kostya was doing his tournament. So this is like an ancient grad show that I never got to. But after I finish today, I will be done. We'll go back to normal. And then the new normal, I don't know, everything's gotten shaken up a little bit with the graduations because so many people got demoted. So there might be less graduations for a while. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know how it's going to work out. Okay. So this is, I don't know how to say this person's name. But you can see they had a Lee Chess graduation. They're actually above their business with Lee Chess, so maybe they didn't get demoted. Actually, so I think this reflects the newest values, actually. So this person is not going to be demoted in the latest one, I don't believe. So it'd be cool if we got some tactics tests going on. Today I reviewed the woodpecker. I've been working on that for weeks. Anyways, I had a lot of thoughts in there about how to do problems. Clubs, no clubs. Activity, quite a bit. And this is a nice graduation. And I don't know if I read their business here. First graduation since joining, was hesitant to do so since I wanted to finish some more tasks first, but it looks like the books are pretty much the same in the next cohort, which was the main thing I was working on. Going to continue taking part in classical games on the weekend in the Lee Chess tournament, which I've really been enjoying. Skebix, hello. One thing I want to say about Lee Chess, somebody said, because, the whole deflation thing happened with Lee Chess, they were like, well, dude, you should just get rid of Lee Chess as one of the categories or ratings. And the great thing about, it's hard to do longer games online anyway. Kind of like online servers are built for blitz chess. But there's so many dojo players who've just begun their journey playing online games. And Chess.com, even though the rating system's better, they count 10-0 games for that. So it's kind of like, is that really a classical rating? No, they don't even have a classical rating. So at least Lee Chess is trying with the classical rating. Yeah. Okay, let's see if Camera's got a game for us. Oh, Camera's got loads of games here. Let's click on this bad boy. Boom. Classical game tournament he just played. Beautiful. I'm going to mark this as reviewed, and now I'm going to, actually, before I go any further, let's see if there's a time. We don't have the time. So what I'm going to do is game review. Oh, I have to, this should, go, buddy. See, this chess is an easy game. Boom. Oh, there it is. It looks pretty good. Okay. Maybe I can make that a little bit bigger. All right, so beautiful annotations so far. The times aren't in there. It's kind of a chore. I say this every grad show, but it's kind of a chore to put the times in. Well worth it. Okay, so our protagonist, our hero, is black. So far, so good. Boom. And this is a fine variation. A4. Yeah. And A4, it's interesting. He says E4 is the most common move when playing online or at the club. I believe that. And A4 is definitely like a positional approach, but it comes with this really big drawback that these squares are now a little tender. Good move. Good move. Good move. Good move. Okay. I think this system, by the way, is a really good one to play. Well, I think it's valid at any level. But what's nice about it is it's a simple setup that you can understand, right? And white will play at some point for E4. And we get some really interesting things going on then. And there's a variety of ways for black to play it as well. Bishop D3 is a big move here. Any case, let's go on. Bishop D2. This suggests that white doesn't really know what they're doing, because the bishop on D2 is not that impressive. A5, good move. Okay, C1, castles. And then again, another move that just suggests that white doesn't know what to do. And so now, right, this is the kind of situation where if you feel like you understand what's going on, you definitely have an advantage in the position. Okay, you play bishop h5. And I don't know about bishop h5. What is true, and talk about c5, is you don't really want to play c5 because that would free the knight. If we're going to play any break, I would say it's this move. So I think the easy move to play is just play queen e7, bud. And then, you can play e5 next or whatever. Because the bishop's doing a job here as well. It's stopping him from playing e4. Bishop h5, and then you note about e4. You give a nice little... It's good that you give this variation. I don't know why we wouldn't take with a knight, though. Yeah, so, the obvious thing here is if this would actually go down, you would take here. And we need to note that one of the things to actually really understand about this position here is this knight is poor because of this pawn, and then this bishop is kind of poor as well. Okay, bishop h5, knight b1, definitely feels like a bad move. Bishop d6, simple but logical. Well, I have some sympathy for bishop d6, but again, just developing, he doesn't want to take on b4, right? Okay, so boom, boom, boom. This seems to be your idea. Now, one of the cool things about what's happening is not only do you have a better understanding of the position, but your opponent really doesn't feel the urgency of time. Like that knight on b1, nobody understands. de, it would be nice if white didn't have to do that. Maybe something like you write queen e3, maybe bishop c3. Now we have to be better. And then you write about queen d7. Great notes, by the way. Really good notes. Yeah. So, really good notes here. I like this queen d7 idea a lot. And the thing about, I just want to look at it for a second. The question I have about queen d7 is, what about just knight bd2? He's got to fix that guy anyway. So maybe queen d7 is a cool idea, but, we haven't really dealt with His main developing move over there, right? Yeah. Further, there's another drama with queen d7 that maybe he could play knight e5. Yeah. I mean, in this position, if he can play f3, that's a reasonable move for the guy, right? Yeah. Okay. So I don't know. I think knight f3 might be reasonable. And then you played queen d7. First of all, you're doing great here. And why? Because the knight on b1 is so bad. And the basic question I would have is, how about we just play a move like queen c7? Because if he takes, he gives us the dark squares. We might even be able to throw in that move in between, but we don't have to get crazy like that. Also, if he takes, I think that the G file is going to be a thing too. So this seems like a simple positional approach. Queen d7, king g2, rook a e8. Now we got to talk about that. What are we doing? Why is the F rook, like, are you going to play f5 someday? Why are we bringing this bad boy over? All right, he kind of sort of fixes his knight. Bishop f4, and now you go for it. So I think you're making things a lot harder than they need to be. Now, should he take? I don't know. But the other thing he could just quite simply do is think about this move, right? And you right there, you said this move, I saw it and made me a little nervous. Pinning the bishop would make me nervous too. Yeah. Okay, bishop e5, rook e5. This is the kind of thing like that my coach gets mad at me for. Because he's like, dude, why did you make it so complicated? Why did it have to be this way? You didn't have to do any of this stuff. So, whoa, it's getting wild here. Well, he definitely blundered there. And this is what happens when you do your Polgar mates. Bam, baby! Oh, yeah! Well, that's something to talk about. Okay. So, I don't know. But good game. Good game. It would help if we had like some times and stuff in there. And of course, I think the thing to recognize is you can get a nice position and then just play it nice and cool. You don't have to go crazy. And I think, to my mind, it kind of starts here. With like bishop h5 doesn't really do anything wrong, but it like hints at the fact that you're trying to do crazy things. Whereas really you should be saying, well, if I dominate him, if I prevent e4, I'm going to be doing great because my pieces look good and I got this beautiful square. So if you just go bang, you're doing great. All right, I agree knight b1's weird. Queen e7, bishop b6, you're trying to do something fancy. And I didn't understand, I don't know if he had to do that. And the other like simple positional approach here is to play h6, I guess here, and then snippos, hippos, and crippos. And what do you got? You got this beautiful square. Are you doing great? Of course you're doing great. Bishop g3, knight h5, hello. I'm just going to park my knight there and go to sleep. So it's just an example of some positional methods that you can use instead of going crazy. Skevix, I believe yours is this week, but this show I'm doing right now is a makeup for my time in the COVID hospital. Okay, let's move on. Next up, we have KT Lincoln. And KT says, I have been I have not been great about updating my activities in my dojo profile for this cohort, but will try to do better and stay more organized for the next one. I have largely been following the plan, which is why I have been making progress. Great to hear. A really nice jump there, too. A massive USCF jump. It's a 1583, looking good. And we want you to do some tests and stuff, but otherwise this is looking great. Clubs, SoCal Dojo, all right. Activity, and we want to look at how you did it. Lots of game analysis, okay. And what's the non-dojo? Rapid, okay. Games. This is Kevin Lincoln. This looks like an OTB game. I'll mark it as reviewed. Kraai, you need to go switch scenes, buddy. Oh, no, you're okay. You're okay. I have a feeling you did not switch the scenes before, and now you're just coming back because Skebix didn't remind me of my crimes. Okay, so no time given on this one, as again, as I said earlier, it always helps. Okay, here we go. So far, so good. H3. Not sure about this. I spent over 2 minutes in this position before deciding on H3. Yeah. H3 definitely incorrect, though. And one of the things I want you to see here is the way you analyze this was to look at the database instead of just thinking about like, oh, what should I be doing? Because H3, you're losing your mind. The knight's not doing anything on G4. The bishop's not coming to G4. So this is just a clean loss of tempo. Now, I feel like if you didn't know anything in this position, you might not find knight A3 because it looks a little weird. Right, so then you would play one of these moves, and then the game goes on. But H3, we've just lost all kinds of time. But it's not because it's abnormal, it's because it's a loss of time. Okay. I feel like I've seen this game. Could that be? Could I have seen this game somehow? Okay, let's pause. I think you're doing fine. Black did not try to really punish you for your H3. Actually, let's go back just a second. So after H3, I guess knight C6 makes a lot of sense. It's interesting that he does play kind of natural moves, but he doesn't actually, I don't know if A6 is necessary, but he doesn't really punish you here, right? I like A4 a lot. Okay. So, boom. I'm out of here. Okay. So, one thing I would want to stress here is the problem for Black is the development. And what happened with bishop b4, bishop b3 is he developed your rook, and that's a good move because you're developing again. And now, it's not easy for Black to do anything here, right? Because of here and here, and then you got some juice on the files. And then great move, yeah. Now you're up a pawn. Okay, rook a c8. And knight cd4 is played, which is weird, of course, because you're giving up the pawn for nothing. And you talk about rook 3d2, and you talk about knight a4, knight a3. That looks like a computer move, but it's interesting. Let's just show knight a3, bishop b4, and then you got bishop b6. And the bummer about knight cd4 is it just solves all of Black's problems all at once, right? Yeah. Okay, so mistake. And now we have to be careful not to be worse. Knight b3. And he's always got knight d5 whenever he wants knight d5. Right now, knight d5 seems fine. You like this. Here. King f8. Yeah, black's looking fine. g4, don't get it. And you're right, now I'm a bit of a loss. I figure I can drop my bishop back and keep pushing the pawns, but I don't really have a clear plan. Okay, so let's talk about what the issue is. We talked in the last game about the Slav structure, and there's certain similarities with that here because of your weaknesses here, right? In the Slav structure, you got this a5, b4 thing going on. So you've got a weakness on the queen side, and one of the things that screams wrong about g4 is that you're playing like on his side of the board. What's going to happen? Eventually, he's going to try to get some kind of business going on the king side. We also need to move this knight somewhere. I got to do something to try to get something going, you know. I think that black could have played knight d5 earlier. He didn't. But now knight d5 is definitely on the table for the guy, right? So it's definitely, it's an unpleasant position. If I was just going to like try to make a move, maybe, I don't know. It's definitely unpleasant. Like knight a5 here, and at least now we might dream, I don't know if it's true, we might dream of holding the C file. Okay. And what I want you to see is like both h3 and g4, it's ultimately really a loss of time. All right, they should play knight d5. That's weird. And now he should still play knight d5. Okay, here it comes. Bishop f6. Knight a5. Reasonable. Boom. Now we got a problem, right? Snip. Now, the engine is apparently saying this is bad news for black, but, you know, hey, that looks pretty good. Knight b7, knight b2, rook b1. I guess that's our issue. And then the engine wants knight d8. Let's see what weird stuff the engine wanted. Knight d1, d8, knight d1, knight e6. Okay. What a mess. All right, rook b1. That's the unpleasantness. And now we're back to black just being comfortably better, right? So the way this went down was this knight a4 tactic, like that it could be wrong, is pretty involved. If it is wrong, we should also say what we think black should do here, right? One simple path to a black advantage would, for example, be knight e4. But this trick, that's complicated, you know, because you got this knight d6 thing coming. It looks like this is saving us, but then as you wrote, knight d8. Okay, so let's carry on. Rook b1. And now he's up his pawn and stuff. Okay. He's trying to do his trade in business. Rook g3. Hanging el Naito. He misses it. He believes you. This is where we really need some time, clock times here. Knight a5. Well, I don't understand this move that you're suggesting, Rook gb3. He still just takes your knight. Now Now, rook g8 doesn't feel right because your rook on the g file isn't doing anything. So you snip. And then you write, from here on, it's basically a foregone conclusion. Let me disagree dramatically. Let me disagree dramatically. There's all kinds of things that are going to happen here. The guy's only up one pawn. He's not shown great in-game technique. They've just undeveloped their king to g8. And this is something people do a lot in the dojo. They get to an endgame position, and they're just like, oh, analysis is done. You know, I was toast here. But no, all kinds of stuff is going on. All kinds of stuff is going on. If I was black, I wouldn't be... I would definitely put it in the... Just looking at it, I would say it's got to be a clear advantage for black, but it's not lost. Okay, I don't know what bishop g3 does. Looks like a tempo loss. e5, in principle, looks correct. The question is, can you play f4? That would be our question. King g2. Knight c4. Okay, good move by black. And then I think you just walked into that. However, can you play f4? And now your bishop, now look at this, your bishop was hanging. All kinds of weird stuff is going down here. Now it truly looks gone, doesn't it? Okay, so let's pause there. I want to stress, you guys, the end game. Annotate your end games, and also don't give up when you're just a pawn down. As I've said many times before, like, it's really interesting when you play a strong player and they defend the position. There's so much grief they're going to throw at you before they resign. What you did here, Kevin, you just rolled over. Yeah. It's a psychological thing. And once you get it, you're going to be much stronger. Okay. Now we have Aaron. He says, woohoo, has graduated. Very good. And 1542, looking great. Let's give him a follow. Has graduated before. Has done one tactics test. We need more. Let's look at some clubs here. Nope. Activity. And we'll go down one. Uh-oh, that seems like there's no games. Is it true, Aaron? Is it true? Oh, no, it's true. Okay, NKM. Had a break and was extremely busy, and so it took me nearly a month to progress through this cohort. A month is great. You do something like that in a month. When I returned from my break, played a lot of longer matches and focused almost solely on tactics, definitely begin to slow down progress-wise now that I'm hitting higher ratings, which is expected. Excited to keep improving now that I'm able to play more again. Played my first tournament game against a 1400 FIDE and won, which was very exciting. That is very exciting. Maybe we're going to see it too. 2024, June 24. What? Oh, look at this guy. Look at his badges. This guy's flying up here, man. I wonder how many people we got who are martial artists. I know we got like a lot of weightlifting people and stuff, you know. But let's see that. I've heard references to Brazilian jiu-jitsu, you know. Kraai, can you fix the scene? Buddy, can you fix the scene? Oh, you jerk face. How you've been talking this whole thing through and you haven't? Man, come on, bud. Furthermore, it could look a little prettier, if you know what I mean. You know, just make it look a little prettier. I don't know whose fault this is. It's probably DM Hoagie's fault. Usually is that guy's fault. Wait, I know what you need to do. You need to make this bigger, and then you go like that. Right, Bud? That's the way you do it, Bud. That's the way you do it. Okay, so this is looking good. NKM. Let's see if we got one of your games, buddy. Nice. All right. Yeah, we'll mark this reviewed. We got a time. Ooh. So this is a 30-minute game, and we got problems. Now, the first thing in Cam is you definitely use more time than your opponent, but you still treated it like a 10-minute game, buddy. You still, oh, here, I'll show it in the time graph thing. I think I might have blown this. Yeah, I blew it. In any case, you can see here with the time graph, it didn't go so far. I'm going to switch scenes here so that we can get the game review. All right, so this is a very fast game in Cam. And I think one of the things that I've seen from a lot of quickly improving people like you is you began online, fine, and now you're moving up, but you're playing against people who are also really known chess just in an online way. So they're not able to sit and think. Right? They're playing these 30-minute games as if they were blitz games. And you aren't able then to sink into the position, and they aren't. So you're not really getting a quality game. This would be a moment, too, where really, according to the dojo, this doesn't count as one of your annotated games because you didn't use half the time. Let me just see a different game by NKM and see if we got something else here. So this next one was 15 plus 10. The dude did think, but I will tell you that, 15 minutes not long. His opponent did not. Oh, no, but this one isn't annotated. That's not annotated, NKM. Let's look at 1/3 one here. This is also 30 minutes, but we don't have the time. All right, I guess we'll go to the first one. We'll go for the first one here. Okay, so this is a very quick game. NKM's opponent not really thinking. So far, you're playing good chess. A3, poor, right? A6, G6, fine, fine. So your opponent's giving you time. Rook E8, weird. What makes sense? B5. B5 makes sense. Rook C8 makes sense. No good. Moving a developed piece twice. B5, good move. E6, good move. Very good. And what do we got? We got a better development. Let's read what you write. I moved my bishop back to prevent any inconveniences as I expected him to play bishop h6 after moving his queen onto the same diagonal, which happened in the next move. Okay, let me say that a good plan for you in these positions is to organize b4. And the main idea is to crack this open and maybe to, if they give it to us, to get this square. And there's a variety of ways you can do it. You could play queen b6 first, you could play a5 first, all that stuff. Pony Labyrinth, thank you for subscribing. I found that when I was a Sicilian player and they played close Sicilians, that plan was very useful. What I also knew from that time is these people are obsessed, absolutely obsessed with this plan. And it's hard, actually, for white to make a different plan. Well, it's not that hard, but this is not going to help. Notice queen c1 is not a developing move, right? What would make more sense? Rook e1, bishop e3, threatening d4. Those are the kinds of things that would make sense. Okay, so loss of time, good move. Rook c8. Okay, you could have also dropped it back. Boom, boom. Queen g5. Queen d8. No, your queen was doing something there. You were doing fine. h6 or a5. Okay, and I want you to see that this is not great because now the bishop that was locked out of the game now has some scope. Now, white has one move to mess with you here, and so his move is reasonable, h4, but you could also play knight g5. I think knight g5 would be my question, like what's going to happen on knight g5? Oh, I'm not thrilled because now we have weakened ourselves. h5, reasonable move. And then this is a terrible, I want you to see this is a terrible thing that the guy does here. White's a little bit better because their king is better. right? So what does white do? He trades off the queen. He trades off the queen, man. Yeah, what are we doing? Okay, so now position totally shifts. Now you're fine again. B4, interesting. And you played rook f8. I'm going to go going a little faster, but also like, yeah, NKM. When you think about going to the next level, it's going to be about thinking about plans in positions like this. There's a lot to think about. A5 comes to mind, for example, right? Knight D2. I'm not sure why. I also don't understand rook F6. There's no attack on F2. So he was afraid if something didn't exist. King F2, maybe. And now you come around the mountain. King E2. This allows you to play CB, which surprises me a little bit. D5, rook H1, knight G6. Okay. A4. Oh my gosh. And now we got a computer telling us that this was bad news. It looks poor. It looks poor. So check to the miserable king, and the problem is king E3, D4. Weird and passive. Good move. Good move. And then you made it, buddy. Yeah, bud. There you go. Okay. So, a lot of things to see about this kind of opponent and then what you should expect, like, moving on. Let's say you play some games with people in the dojo. Well, they're going to be a little tougher, you know, around your new rating, right? They're going to move slower. They're not going to give you tempi like this guy did, right? This guy here, just complete, giving you tempi and time, you know, because he's playing the game like a blitz game, right? But NKM, you're doing great, and we gotta say, it's really impressive that you've made such quick progress over here. Very impressive. And it augurs well that, you know, if you've gotten this far, you should be able to continue. And, you know, you just started, and so doing a little deeper annotations is a first thing to do. Playing some longer games to, you know, have the basis for those longer annotations, also something to do. Okay, small beak. This is my first time playing longer games, and attempting to analyze afterwards feels like a different game when you have time to think and plan. Correct. So this is small beak. We're going to give small beak a follow. And let's see. Done some checkmate tests, looking great. 3 of them, 1629, and some tactics tests. All right. Clubs. Oh, we got the people down under. The people down under. Nice. All right. And he's a Sicilian player. Let's see if we get some activity. And we're going to look 1400. Done a lot of work. Yeah, and it's a good macro distribution as well. All right, boom, games. Small beak against Smyslov Protege. He's playing somebody significantly higher rated here. And this was played just a couple days ago. Let's see what we got. Kraai, can you move the scene, buddy? Can you move the scene before we lose our mind? Oh. This is definitely a case where small beak is using their time and their opponent is not. However, it's got to be said that small beak is playing somebody who is significantly higher rated. This is a 130 plus 30 game. Okay, this is my repertoire. And it's possible to go into the end game here, but it's important to understand that it's not as easy or as big of a thing that you might imagine it is. And when I say a thing, I mean the fact that you have stopped black from castling. Bishop e6. This is a move that I've looked at in the past. It's very interesting. And then you write, I thought taking would leave black with double isolated pawns and so be good for me. I think that the black king stuck in the center. These two pawns control some key squares and restricted the movement of my pieces and prevented me from landing a piece on d5 or f5. Absolutely. So this is a pretty high concept by black. And we actually looked at this a little bit with Kostya and David. I don't know what the context was that we were looking at this position, but their first instinct here was that white had to be significantly better. But then, I played a couple moves and I was fine every time. The computer, if I remember right, said white has a small advantage. But the problem is it's very hard to really actually get at black. And black has this really great shell now where he can go like this. And it's very hard to, if you ever take that bishop on d6, for example, right, then the pawns are totally healthy. So bishop g5, bishop d6, castles, good move. Knight ge2, king e7. Black's playing simple and strong chess. g3. Now here's where you lost your mind. Now, again, that's what I'm saying. It's hard to know how to play the position. One thing we can say, for example, is that your knights need to have some kind of plan, right? Now, if I was just going to make a move, it would definitely be f3, containing the knight and giving the bishop a square to go back to, but that's not impressive. This knight on e2 must be improved. Hard to know how to do it, So this is what we're saying. It's hard for white. g3, h6. You gave a snip, and now he could have played gf. A little bit surprising to me because gf is just fine. f4, and I don't know who you're helping here with f4. He does this. Looks strong. He does that. Yeah. Oh, black's a little bit better. Yeah, black's still better. Good move. Now, I want to say black has not done it in the last couple moves. Now you are probably fine. Yeah, I think you're fine. And rook takes felt safer, but your move, let's give it a second. Okay, one thing that we want to stress is you need to find a way to improve this knight. And so it's a tactical thing here that goes down, but let's look. So e5, knight h5, a little weird. Knight d5 is a little more normal. Now the knight might get paralyzed over there. And now you play king d2. Okay. Okay, good. Boom, good move. I think you're better. I'd rather be you here anyway. Good move. Now we need a good move. Maybe I was wrong about you being better. How did it happen? That was fascinating. I felt, by the way, I was very suspicious the way black played this. AF8, king e3, g5. F takes. Well, maybe he is going to survive this thing. Well, maybe I'm wrong. I'm just very suspicious of the knight on the edge. Huh, look at that. Now we're in a little trouble. Now we're definitely in trouble. I don't know about rook e5. This we needed to annotate some. Okay. Here, 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 here. And then king b4 definitely looks good. The question about king b4, though, is, are we going to run into a pin of death? So this knight d5 looks like a problem, but it looks like we're fine. Maybe key variation would be pop, 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 and we hold on to our coconut. Okay. Again, this was like, well, this was a 130-30. Now, let me just stress again with that time graph, that small beak, our hero, he still has plenty of time here. His opponent has stopped thinking long ago. So even if you're rated much higher, you can become a victim to moving too fast. And here, c7 is interesting. Knight e4 was played. And yeah, what is this guy doing? He's playing instantly. Oh no! Oh no! And you played rook e4. What happened here? I don't understand. So you were winning with c8 immediately, is what you're saying. But you got great winning chances here. And this is where black just stopped thinking entirely. Oh, no. Well, you're right. I had no idea of how to progress in this endgame. I think I should have placed my queen in front of the pawn on g1 and make it difficult to advance the pawns. Okay. Well, let's talk basics. The drama that black is going to run into is, how can he defend this pawn? Because, see, he doesn't want to leave this rook here forever. And maybe that will be an attempt to actually hold the position, to run it there forever, but we can definitely try to run that guy out of moves. And so the first thing we want to do is calculate, is g3 a threat? Important question. And for example, king b5, that's the move I want to play. g3, I don't think he gets to do this because of this move. So that would be our plan. We want to hold on to the pawn, and I don't think he gets to do this. I'm going to guess because this guy is loose, but that would be another thing I would just want to make sure of. Okay. Yeah. And then even this one's a funny one. Let's just say I can't win the rook immediately. Let's just presume that that's the case. This takes skill for black to hold this. And it's interesting theoretically because he needs to get his rook here. And we need to prevent said rook from getting there. Okay. Good game. You're playing this guy significantly higher rated. You're winning. Oh. And you ended up losing. Oh, man. But look, the main thing is, at the end, you had plenty of time. At the end, it says you had 16 minutes left. So you got tricked into his game, which was just moving instantly because he was unsatisfied with his position. Also, maybe out of a competitive drive, he thought it would mess with you to move so fast. And it did, right? One thing I can tell you is when you study your games, really go into the end games here, you're going to get another end game like this. And what's going to happen is you're going to realize, oh, this is really complicated. I got to think. And then you are going to think. But until you realize, oh, I got to analyze this, you're not going to think during the game. You're going to be like this chump, Smyslov's protege. This guy's not Smyslov's protege. He's Smyslov's chump. That's who this is. This guy's not even thinking. All right, let's move on. We got FF Medic, and then we got Zach, and then then we got Foxtrot. Oh my God, we're not done here, buddy. And I think I did Mexican Monkey already. FF Medic wrote me a novel. Let's read his novel. God, might not even be finished with this one today. I got to be out at the top of the hour. This is the second graduation for me, but by far one I'm most proud of. Few highlights. My highest rating ever when I started this cohort was about 50 points short of what I needed to graduate. I hadn't even been close to my highest rating in quite some time. After last graduation, lost a few points and dropped to around 130 below what I needed to graduate. Worked hard to not only match my previous high, but finally exceed it and hit what I needed to graduate. Like all adults, the summer months were extremely busy for me, and I was not able to put as much time as I wanted into chess. Had to be efficient in what I studied and how much I played. Books in the cohort were fantastic and helped guide me for what I needed to study, and I had to make sure that I put the work in and not coast while playing. Speaking of playing, I stopped playing Blitz completely, cold turkey, on July 1st. I could see bad habits creeping into my game, and I was making dumb mistakes. Since stopping, I gained over 100 rating points. Since I didn't have a lot of time to play, I caught myself playing mini blitz games. I found out that playing 3 to 3 long games was much more efficient than playing 10 or more blitz games. Right. Puzzles, puzzles, puzzles. I did puzzles every day. Okay, good. Chesscom, Chessable, nice. And then number 5, a big thing that I did and recommend this for everyone who's not already doing it is find one player that their games entertain you and study every single one of them. My player was Tom. Great. That is absolutely great. Okay, well, let's go take a look at FF Medic. And 1321, Chesscom. They got a USCF, dormant. And they got a tactics extreme checkmate test, but haven't done the tactics test yet. Clubs, Detroit, okay. Activity, and we're gonna go down one. This is how they did it. Was it like you said? Oh, that's some YouTube, some Rapid, some Blitz, and lots of games and analysis. All right, so let's try to do a game here from FF Medic. And then I have to run. Ooh, and you know what I did? Scene boss. Jake, how come you didn't tell me, bud? How come you didn't tell me? This whole time, I was doing that whole thing, and you didn't tell me. It's your fault. Oh, man. So, game review. Sorry about that. But, you know, we were reading the highlights of FF Medic's business. Weird. Why don't we just take the pawn, FF Medic? That's a free pawn. Oh, now we just play E5 with tempo. E5 with tempo, thank you very much. Oh, who are we playing here? We're just killing this person. Fine. Oh, we're just slaughtering them. This was a 15-10 game. Again, I think now the times are not given. Sometimes that has to do with the import, but it feels like white isn't thinking here. Good. Oh, that ain't it, buddy. Thank you very much. This guy's just doing a full yard sale here. Good move. Good move. Good move. Good move. C4, I would have preferred rook d8. I know why he's trading all his coconuts off. Good move. Good move. Good move. All right, so now we got the technical phase. Good move. Good move. Oh, you're doing great here, man. Yeah, this is what they get. This is what they get, FF Medic. This is what they get. Now we got to be a little careful. But so far, everything you're doing feels right. That one makes me a little nervous. That one, maybe rook d3 is a little more circumspect. Good move. Simple chess. I like it. No, chess is easy game. A good win. I was able to trade down after getting an edge and use what little endgame skills I have to finish them off. Very good. And look, I would say at this cohort, you're normally going to play stronger players than this guy. This is clearly somebody who's just playing online. They're not thinking. They got that Twitter going on or something in the background, right? So it will get harder. And I encourage you, if you want to play online games, play the Dojo Classical. Get somebody that you can do a post-mortem with. They're not going to be like this guy, Not going to be like this. Jake says, my bad for not telling me. Okay. You guys, that was great. I'm going to try to be back. I still haven't finished this graduation show. This is like the graduation show that won't die, dude. It won't die.